Marina, same question to you.
Thank you. I would follow up on Greg's point that China's position has to be understood in the context of its strategic competition with the United States. And what we know from the analysis of Chinese foreign policy is that the Chinese government is mostly thinking in terms of united front thinking. And by united front, not the subversive united front that we read about, Chinese civil society actors, but united front in the sense who is with me, who is against me. And in this case, Russia is the united front against the United States. So this is certainly the bigger framework. However, I don't think honestly, that Xi likes Putin personally too much, even if they share a certain similar background and similar views of the West and similar understandings that the collapse of the Soviet Union was the largest tragedy of the 20th century. I think both of them have expressed that. I think rather that Beijing is somewhere between concerned and terrified at the prospects of what may happen down the road with Russia. In both cases, in Russia winning the war, because who's gonna say that Central Asia is not gonna be the next? We know the philosophical theories about, the return of the Great Russia, and we know Putin's ambitions in this direction, but also what happens if Putin falls, because if you look at who is waiting next in line to follow him and preparing their weapons, these are people like Kadyrov, the president of Chechnya. These are people like Prigozhin, the boss of the Wagner group, people who are not like Putin. I mean, who is a KGB person. People who are more like mafia, people who are going to be much, much less predictable and much less respectful of the international order than the already disrespectful Russian government is. So my feeling is that Beijing is trying basically what it can to stabilize the regime as it is. However, the fault for all Chinese worries in the eyes of Zhong Nanhai is, of course, not Russia violating the Ukrainian border, but the United States and the West that has supported color revolutions and democracy and whatnot. But, in fact, was, just trying to further its geopolitical interests and to destabilize the situation. And this is exactly what we read in the paper that appeared last week and that Greg also mentioned, about the US and the hegemony. This is where it's stated explicitly that, and where Ukraine is also mentioned. And the responsibility for resolving the situation, and this is also a very tricky and triggering point in the 12th paper, is with both Russia and Ukraine, and not with Russia, but actually it is with the West, which is mentioned throughout the paper numerous times as all parties. At the same time, China is very clearly using the war and the paper to further its global agenda vis-a-vis the global South, where it looks to position itself as an alternative and better great power that is, not waging conflicts, but stating the importance of development and stressing that development needs security, and basically using this paper as, if you want to describe it, as position itself as the adult in the room who urges all the conflicting parties and the West, to return to the table. And unfortunately, this is a tone that hits positive in quite a number of countries in the global South who see the war as the West's problem, who argue that, well, you never cared about our wars, who also, have been very sensitive to the pictures of African students who were treated badly at borders when they tried to leave Ukraine. So all of that it has created a conglomerate which China probably sees both as a chance and as a huge headache. I think